Hello and welcome to this edition of Our World that focuses on the consequences of flooding and environmental protection. My name is Chuol Jany. South Sudan is one of the countries in East Africa facing a climate change that become a major setback to many households for 3 years. It caused displacement and effects on agriculture production that make people depend on the food aid since 2019. According to the UN report, the flooding impacted lives of over 900,000 people across 9 states in South Sudan and in southern part of Abyei administrative area. Families displaced from their homes, domestic and wild animals died due to lack of dry land. I traveled to Unity State, Lair County, for personal mission, and I found that people evacuated their homes, sheltered in highly populated town. Inside the plane, I see the area who have been homes become a fishing ground. You cannot tell where the owners are located. I landed at Lair airstrip surrounded by water with less population stay nearby. Despite the presence of water everywhere, communities still find it difficult to drink clean water. Some boreholes serve as a water point set up by humanitarian agencies working in the area, but not enough to the population because the flood has displaced people from their villages within Lair and Mayandit counties. During my second days in Lair, I took a permission from the security to collect some of the video footages of devastated area within the town, which was granted. It was one of the evening. I took my camera and found that climate change is real because some of the concrete buildings, including the government's offices, submerged. Popular residential areas in Lair town before the crisis, like former Lair Market, Nyandiar, John Yard City, Dock residential area, where my home is formerly constituted, become a fishing field, and people use the place to get water lily for survival. The Commissioner of Lair County, Stephen Taker, told me that my visit was at the time the flood subsided in some part of the town. He narrated his experience that flood in 2022 affects county residential area where the government officials are stayed. Everyone were to find an alternative of making the place dry by creating a dike and removing the water already in their houses. Taker says the rainy seasons give them a terrible experience. There is no concrete solution to stop the flooding since it is a natural disaster. Last year, South Sudan national government approved dredging of Nam in Unity State, a divisive initiative the country ever witnessed. Some from the academia criticized the idea, saying it will cost a long-time effect on water bodies and sewage wetland that could lead to a drought which the country experienced 30 decades ago. Others welcome the move, taking it as an alternative to make the community resume their livelihood in the areas like Unity, Upper Nile, and Jonglei. In August last year, President Salva Kiir ordered the suspension of dredging-related activities in the country until an evidence-based study are carried out. President Kiir's announcement, which was made during his address on the country's 11th independent anniversary, means the dredging projects on the Bahr el Ghazal Nam River, approved by the cabinet last year, the century-old Jonglei Canal project will now be altered.
I am today freezing any plan dredging activities in the Sud region until credible, professional, evidence-based studies are carried out on the impact of dredging both on the surrounding communities and their ecosystem. To this effect, I am directing the Ministry of Environment and Forestry to initiate the process of identifying and eventually hiring credible experts who will carry out the said feasibility studies.
In May, Unity State Government received dredging equipment from Egypt for the projects on the Nam River, claiming it would reduce the flooding that displaced thousands of people in the state. President Kiir later formed a public awareness and consultative committee to gather views of national and international experts to measure the disadvantage and advantage of dredging the river of weed and mud that have blocked the smooth flow of the Nile water. South Sudan First Vice President Dr. Riek Machar is speaking at the public consultations on the Nile water resource management, citing that the history of dredging and arguing that the advantage outweighs the disadvantage. Dr. Machar declared that he was one of the supporters of the dredging, downplaying the fear that the activities could be harmful.
We don't have any water, whether it is transboundary water that is of the White Nile, flows without us controlling it. If it is our rainwater, and when it joins the transboundary rivers, it also flows without our control in it. So to me, I hope our experts will address themselves to issue of development, to issue of management, and to issue of controlling the water resources.
Professor Tangs Akinzi, a Canadian-based researcher who was among the committee formed by the president last year, said the dredging cannot be used to mitigate the flooding, and no country ever been using such mechanism. He recommended the construction of them and diggings of the affairs to contain the flood water, and warned that both dredging and diggings of canal would channel the water to Egypt and leave the citizen disadvantaged. The debate on the dredging rivers and diggings of Jonglei Canal blew hot when the dredging machines procured by the Egyptian government arrived in Unity State in a bid to dredge the Nam River for it to be navigable. That brings us to the end of today's episode. Join me again next week for another edition. Don't forget to follow us on YouTube and social media platforms.